When your data, your photos, your documents is stored in the cloud, you can access it from almost any device. As long as you have an internet connection, whether it be a wireless 3G connection or an ADSL connection, you can access it. It's now device independent as well. Cloud computing makes you completely independent of your physical devices. Whether it's an iPad or an Android, a Windows PC, a Mac, pretty much you can access, as long as you have an internet connection, that's all that is needed now. Things will run in the browser or run in the virtual desktop infrastructure. So you're not dependent on that physical machine. You can lose it, you can have it drop into a bucket of water, and it doesn't matter, you don't lose your data. Cloud computing is incredibly cheap now, but any business needs to have some experts helping them in that process, migrating the data, making sure it's set up securely and making sure there's no problems. And that's really where the IT consultants who are working with cloud come in. They're pretty valuable. The amount of involvement from us is fairly small, but it just makes our whole process of migration completely seamless. With your existing network these days, we can leave it completely intact and untouched. We can give you access to your online drive where your data is stored, your online mail system, your online security. The whole thing is now online. So your fallback is still there. You've still got your existing network. It's actually very, very simple to do. Cloud computing changes the entire licensing model completely. In the new model, a lot of the things that we do these days require absolutely zero licenses. You can rent licenses, where Microsoft model, now you can actually rent these on a per month basis. But the spectrum is right down to the other end where we can eliminate all the license costs completely. Absolutely. You only need to move one system at a time, perhaps a module, or it might be your data, maybe your email, perhaps some of the applications. So you can end up with a hybrid of anything from web apps to mobile phone apps to your data being hosted. You might simply start with a backup system. So back up your data, replicate it to an off-site site, so you're completely covered. Whether you're a Mac user or a Windows user, or you're running one of the new tablets, an Android or an iPad, it makes no difference what your device is. These days your data, your applications, your security is all managed in the cloud. And the device you're using is really just a window to that data. So no matter whether you're a Mac user and you love your Mac, keep using it, but you don't have to be dependent on that device. Well, a traditional network is normally very elaborate. File service backup systems, PC desktops, standard operating environments. You need IT consultants, a lot of Microsoft licenses or Mac licenses. Moving to the cloud, it's already pre-set up. You can go there with a credit card, just dial in and start using it right now. And it simply streams to your screen. So you can run a cloud solution on your existing hardware without making any changes. So the transition is a very small, simple step. There's no barriers to entry. It's really not a risk at all, and in fact it's bringing another benefit. When you first move to the cloud, you're migrating your data. Immediately you've got a full, true backup of that, of everything that you've got. You start using the applications on there in a trial environment until you're completely convinced that it's secure, that you can trust it, that it works. And at that point, you make the decision when you're going to start running it live. You use your own internal network then, or your own PC locally, to replicate your data back to it. So there's your fallback. So you're completely covered. It's probably giving you twice the base you would have normally had. Dropbox is one solution in a whole spectrum of technologies that you can use. A small business, for example, won't want all of their data replicated back on every single PC, and certainly some employees shouldn't have access to all the data. So at the other end of the spectrum, you'll have a solution where your online storage will need to service different security groups. You don't want the data replicated back, you don't need to, it's inefficient. You can set up proper backup solutions for that, manage the security. It's what a traditional file system is, but these file systems are now available online. It's very different to the other end of the spectrum where Dropbox is really handling it, you as an individual. Cloud computing is safe and secure. You can take your backup and have it encrypted. Everything that's going across the internet can be fully encrypted, 128-bit encryption, which is equivalent to your bank. What's stored on the servers, you can encrypt so that it's locked up totally, and so long as you have the password. Even the system administrators can't necessarily get access to this data these days, depending on what choices you make. People are really interested in migrating onto the cloud now. The process is quite straightforward. We take a copy of your data, put it up onto the cloud. We set your security parameters the way that you want it. Set up your access, and then you're running. It's actually that simple. More complicated things are actually migrating your email. A small bit of hand-holding in that process eliminates any of the risk. It's actually very, very simple. It's much more simple than setting up a normal network, a fraction of the cost as well.
Cloud Computing Perth reduces your costs dramatically. We reduce your IT software costs and your IT hardware costs. We improve your backup system and your disaster recovery. Cloud Computing Perth migrates your existing IT infrastructure to the cloud or starts from scratch. We listen to your business story and ensure a customized cloud solution, safe and secure, because we want you to be worry-free so that you can focus on what you're good at. Call us now, 9481 4010.